Hello and a big welcome back to all of my subscribers. And if you're not a subscriber, what's wrong with you? Hurry up and press the button. So, right, today I want to show you a 6502 chip and the programming of a 6502 chip. And stick with me, because at the end we'll show you how you can learn to write a simple game in a 6502 chip. Now, the easiest way to do this is to get an emulator, and the easy6502 emulator is a really good one because it's actually written in JavaScript, which means you can run it in a web browser. And the 6502 chip was so easy that, you know, it can be run as a JavaScript program. It doesn't have a load of registers like a modern, Threadripper or something like that. And so it's relatively easy to learn some assembly before you move on to a larger machine or a bigger CPU with more registers and more instruction sets and that sort of thing. So the way I did it was I run this program as a web page, and I have a web server, a Docker server, that runs this out for me. Now it's really simple. Here is where you input your assembly language program. You can run it, reset it, you can do hex dumps, you can disassemble programs, and you can also, it has a built-in debugger. So you can tick the debugger and do step. It'll show you the A register, the X register, the Y register, stack pointer, program counter, all of that good stuff. It'll show you the values, and you can just step through each one or jump to and over certain bits. So it's a really, really good way to learn to do some assembly language programming. And I highly recommend that you have a look at downloading this. Now, if you download it, you want to download the zip file, and then I'll show you how you can do a Docker installation of this. Now, to do a Docker installation, all you need to do, let me just show you, is download the files, unzip them into a directory. Then if we look at the Docker file, this simply consists of getting a PHP and Apache, run the update. I've installed MySQL, but that's just because I copied this from something else. You don't really need it. And then the copy of the main pages that you've got here into the HTML of the Docker, and then I have set it to run on port 6502 since I want a 6502 assembly. Then I have a Docker compose that builds it, sets the volume, puts it on the current local host, and puts 6502 as my port that I'm going to run it on. And if we go back here, you can see that this is on my local host at port 6502. Now, before I go any further, I want to show you later a book that you can use to learn some 6502 assembly code. But before we do that, I want to show you a different book, because I'm not sponsored and I don't get any ad revenue from these YouTube channels. So if you want to help me out or support me, you can look and buy my books. I sell books. They're available at Amazon, Barnes & Noble, Apple, all over the place. And you can get mostly Kindle versions, but there's also paperback versions you can buy. And if you would please have a look at my books. And if you like the book, you buy the book, you get a nice book to read, everybody wins. So if you can support me by checking out my books, I would really appreciate it. And to get a list of all my books, you can go to xgiprogramming.com and look at both the fiction and the non-fiction books. The fiction books, that one I just showed you, is one of a series, and there's other series you can buy. So, enough of that. Let's go back to the 6502. Now, the 6502 has a nice little ebook here put on the web by Nick Morgan. And it'll introduce you to the 6502. It shows you registers, flags. It goes through all the instructions, how to branch, how to do addressing, talks about the stack, jumps, and at the end of this, he will actually create a game for you. So if you run this, for example, he's written code in here and shows you what it does and how it works. So if you run this code, you can see that it's just putting 3 colors over here in the pixel. So we can reset this. If we tick debugger, we can step into it and it'll show you that it's loaded a 1 into A, and we step, and then you see that it is written a white pixel in the top corner. If we go to the next one, you can see it's loaded 5 into A, and we step into it and see that it has put a green pixel in the next image here. Now these memory addresses, $0200 and $0201, so now you can guess what's going to happen here at $002. But if we step into it, we've now got 8 in the A register, and you step on and you get an orange at this memory location. So you can see he's stepping you through each of these exercises, showing you how to do the pixels, showing you how you can change the color. So if we pick, let's just put everything up by 1 and see what happens. You can experiment with this and you're not going to break anything. So we get different colors, a bit more difficult to see, but you can see 3 different colors there. So anyway, you can go through Nick's book and he will give you a multitude of examples and show you how to load values, how to increment values, how to add, how to multiply, all of that good stuff. And then at the end of this book, after he's gone through all of this stuff, he will show you how to write a game here. So if we reset that and run it, it's actually snaky, but I don't have my keyboard set up to move the snake around, but you get the point. So he's made snaky in a 6502 in a JavaScript simulator on a web page. Right, now this is just a good example of how to write a game in assembler. You can do your own, or you can mess around with this one and change things and just have a play about, and then you have your own free assembler simulator that you can do whatever you want and write whatever games you wanted to write. Now if you like this sort of content, I would really appreciate it if you like the video and subscribe and share it about with your friends, and I will just carry on trying to find interesting things technology and language wise for people to watch. Right, well thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you again soon.